people. Starship Rowan Rope, we're off for another day. Another day of broadcast insolence. Very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. Coming up on the program, let me just tell you what's happening. There will be a repeat of the interview that you heard yesterday with Sting. Sting coming up after the Knarble Wagon rolls today at 5 o'clock. We will replay after the Top 5. We'll replay some of the best moments of our sit-down with Sting. Exclusive radio interview in Chicago with him as he's here with his new play. Is he Adonijay's going to be here? Mike Monaco was in for Richard Roper.
Hello, Ro.
Hello, Michael. Thank you so much for being here as well.
My pleasure.
And I got so many legal entanglements with you. I don't even know where to begin.
There you go.
Where to begin. But we start in Iraq.
Ouch.
Where all hell is breaking loose. On the outskirts of Baghdad now is this ISIS group that is so bad, so completely brutal in its treatment of human beings. They have instituted new rules of Sharia law in all of the places that they have taken over from Aleppo, Syria. They have swung, which is north and west of Baghdad. They have swept in this arc through the northern part of the eastern part of Syria and north and west Iraq, now toward Baghdad. They sit right now on the outskirts of Baghdad. They're not allowing women to leave the home. There are public beheadings. There is incredible no opposition politically. I mean, it's instant death, torture, things like that. They're just brutal, so brutal, in fact, and I wish I were making this up. And our old friend Geraldo Rivera is on the Super Celebrity Hotline, who spent many weeks and months in Iraq himself. This is so brutal. Even Al-Qaeda is denouncing them.
You know, Ro, first I want to hear about the legal entitlements you have with Mike, because it sounds like a very interesting story, and I, as a lawyer, maybe I could help sort you guys' domestic situation.
Yeah, okay, we'll work it out.
In terms of Iraq, let me just start with what the president said at about noon Eastern time today, when he said he was going to study it over the weekend and consider their options. I have been generally supportive of this commander-in-chief, as I was generally supportive of George W. Bush. When it comes to war, you've got to give deference to the boss, except this was the wimpiest statement I have ever heard Barack Obama make. It was appallingly embarrassing. He did not address the fact that the embassy we have in Baghdad is the world's largest, our largest, 15,000 employees. This was an utter failure of U.S. intelligence. It is appalling. It is embarrassing. Secondly, for the president to contemplate what to do, you described very accurately the arc of control of this hyper-radical Islamic fanatic extremist Sunni group from Aleppo to the outskirts of Baghdad. They are on the highway. They are flying the black Al-Qaeda flag, or the flag of Al-Qaeda in Iraq and Syria. We should have employed the drones 48 hours ago. We should have employed them 2 weeks ago, 24 hours ago, this morning. For him to go now to Montana, wherever the hell he is going, to do whatever he's going to do without initiating action right now, I think is appalling. It is irresponsible. It is reckless. You have those trucks on the road. They are in control of hundreds of millions of dollars, our dollars. They just looted from the Mosul banks. They have our M1 tanks. They have our surface-to-air missiles. We got to hit them. We got to hit them now. We got to hit them with the drones first. We've got to have the backup. The fleet is on the way, as mobilized, and should soon be in the Eastern Mediterranean. We've got to hit them hard. Give Maliki, for all his flaws, and he's a punk and everything else he is, we've got to give the Iraqi army time to find the fact that they have cojones and they're defending their own country. But right now you've got to punish the people who, as you describe, are beheading their enemies or oppressing women or trying their best to impose Sharia law, and worse, on that huge arc. I'm telling you, Ro, this is very serious, and I am embarrassed for the President of the United States.
Geraldo, I wish you would just tell us how you really feel. I hate you just beating around the bush. All right, so the question about this group is they're very well funded. Now, as you just pointed out, and this is an excellent observation, they've been robbing banks along the way. I mean,
right.
And they're getting cash. But it's a little unclear where else they are getting their money from. Who is supporting them? Because now
Saudi Arabia. Who do you think? It's the Wahhabis. It's the same people that hit us on 9/11. We have picked the wrong side in the Muslim world. The Shiites have done us far less damage than the Sunnis, and this is not. These are not just Sunnis. These are Sunni extremists who leave. Many of my friends are Sunnis. I love the Sunnis. I've known them for decades. My drivers, my translators, my friends, they stayed in my house. Mm-hmm. Abdul, the guy's going to hopefully be the next president of Afghanistan. But you have a situation here where you have the most extremist group supported by these secret Saudi trillionaires. And what they want to do is they want an old caliphate, that they want to reimpose a Sunni extremist dominated arc, the crescent there in the whole of the Mideast. You cannot allow them, we went to war in Afghanistan to punish the Taliban because the Taliban hosted the Al-Qaeda forces that hit us. Mm-hmm. Now that was Al-Qaeda, a couple of guys in the corner of Afghanistan. Now you have those same extreme radical people on the verge of taking control of an oil-rich nation. A nation where they have unlimited funds, 300 miles from Israel, 350 miles from the Suez Canal. Come on. This is a no-brainer. The president has to hit them hard, hit them now. And Maliki, you'll sort out. Maliki's got to become more conciliatory toward the Sunni tribes. I get all that. But this is an emergency. We got to act right now. And I'm shocked that you're not hearing my tone in the mainstream media about what the president said 3 hours ago.
Well, we are, and I mean, we are from you. You will on Talk Radio for sure. And Geraldo Rivera, of course, you can see him on Fox News on the weekends, 9 p.m. Central. Geraldo at large, and also WABC Radio, right? Aren't you?
Yeah,
WABC Radio? And as a matter of fact,
my daughter's at Northwestern. I was just there 2 days ago. I was listening.
Why didn't you have dinner? So here's the deal, Geraldo. Hold on one second. As you know, as a WABC talk shows, we do have to do traffic and weather. So we've got traffic and weather on the 5s. You stand by just 1 second. We'll come back.
Problem.
We'll do this on the other side and talk about what does this really mean with Iran calling us up and going, hey, listen, you want to team up against these guys? Let's give it a shot. Hold on 1 second. We'll talk right about that after this.
John Cass and Lauren Cohn, weekday mornings 9 till 11 on Chicago's Talk Leader, 89 WLS.
We have enormous interest there, and obviously our troops and the American people and the American taxpayers made huge investments and sacrifices in order to give Iraqis the opportunity to chart a better course, a better destiny. But ultimately, they're going to have to seize it. As I said before, we are not going to be able to do it for them.
There's the president speaking at the White House before he got on Marine One on his way to the airport. Geraldo Rivera, Fox News, and also WABC Radio, our sister station in New York, is on the Super Celebrity Hotline. And, it's an interesting problem. As you pointed out at the very top here, Geraldo, the president could say, listen, this is an Iraqi problem. The Iraqis have to defend themselves. Well, the Iraqis, he knows as well as any human being, you would think, as well as any human being, what the capabilities of the Iraqi Defense Forces actually are, because we trained them, we gave them the uniforms, we armed them, we gave them tactics, and we gave them command and control equipment. And so he should know how they can handle it. And what has happened here is entire platoons, actually even higher than that, brigades of Iraqi Defense Forces have melted into this surging group because, as Maliki called it, they have no reason to fight. Well, if Maliki isn't the reason to fight and Mother Iraq is not the reason to fight, and they're just falling into this now sort of mass Sunni, which of course the country, Iraq is predominantly Sunni in the north and the west, where this ISIS group is coming from, then they are going to melt in. They're going to go, hey, we're going to go with these guys.
A couple of points. You're right, but there's something even more basic. And when I voice my displeasure about President Obama, again, I urge people to realize that I've been essentially supportive of the president, voted for him twice. But here's where he is absolutely missing the boat again. It's not just that he is dithering when he should be acting. He has just misstated what is at stake here. It is not the fate of Iraq. I don't give a damn about Iraq. I spent the better part of, half of the last 8, 9, 10 years of my life in Iraq. Iraq can take care of itself, but that's not about Iraq. This is about giving America's sworn blood enemies a base of operations next door to Israel, next door to the Suez Canal, giving them all the money we deposited, all the tax money, the $2 trillion we put in the Iraqi banks, all of the military equipment we gave them, all of the airports, all of the assets, giving the worst enemies of America a secure national base. Ro, let me just very briefly, you know the Godfather movie. You know when Hyman Roth and Michael Corleone are in Havana. And Hyman Roth, the gangster, says to Michael Corleone when they're in Cuba, this is the first time we've ever had a nation that we can do our mafia stuff in a whole nation. We have a nation now. That's what is at stake here. We are giving to the mafia of the Islamic extremists, the most fanatic, anti-American, hateful, destructive, bloody savages, a national base. We're giving them a country. This is not about Maliki. Screw Maliki. I don't care about the Shiites, the Sunnis, the Kurds. They have their fight going 5,000 years. That's not my beef. What I don't want is for Baghdad Airport now to be used for strikes against Israel, for strikes against Jordan, for strikes against our allies, strikes against us. That's what's going to happen. We can't let them get a national base. We must realize this is an American strategic existential threat, Ralph.
Geraldo, this is an interesting thing. Iran is now saying, there's a bunch of press today about the fact that Iran is talking, there are some sort of communications between the United States and Iran about defending Baghdad and the Shia population that is in the south and east part of Iraq that borders Iran against this marauding horde of Sunnis. Could you imagine a moment in which there would be Iranian Republican Guard coming across the border with U.S. air support?
Not only can I envision it as a war correspondent, I encourage it. I have no beef with Iran. I have absolutely no quarrel with Iran. Iran will join the family. You ever see that show in Southern California about the Shahs of Sunset or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
The Persian people are an entrepreneurial people. You know, you can see them around. They want a Cadillac. They want a nice house in Bel Air. They want a nice house in Evanston, Willamette. I can deal. I have whatever Iran did in 1979 when they went through their own insanity, and what Hezbollah did to us in 83 in Beirut, I do not forgive those things.
Yeah.
But they have not had an attack against us since. I think they are negotiating in good faith. They want to get back into the family of nations. I encourage the U.S. Iranian secret talks. This is the way I see it. I mean, give me 30 seconds.
Okay.
Here's what I see. You got the northern city of Mosul. So you got the extremist Sunnis that took that northern city of Mosul, where they almost killed me and my brother Craig. Our car got hit 14 times in an ambush there in 2004. So I know Mosul very well. But we're not going to get Mosul back right now. But just south of Mosul, that's where we draw the line. That's where we encourage the Iranian ground forces and our air assets. We cut off the road right there. There's only one road. that road goes down to Tikrit, to Samarra, and then down to Baghdad. So we cut the road just south of Baghdad. We make it another highway of death. Remember that from 1991 where we wiped out the Hussein army that invaded Kuwait, that highway of death.
Guard, yeah.
You saw that whole, miles of burned out cars and blown up, Iraqi tanks and all. We make another highway of death out of those Sunni extremists right there. You stop them. You let the Iraqis get their army back up to speed. Remember clean their butts. Remember that they're fighting for their country, and then they come up and they get it together, and then you encourage conciliatory talks between the Sunni tribes and the Shiite tribes and all the rest of it. Right now is the emergency, though. You've got to stop the emergency. It's like the Incheon landing. You land behind them, let the Iranians come in behind them, hit them with drones on that highway of death, wipe them out, and then you sort out the political stuff, or you don't. But the fact is, you can't let these killers take over this country.
Thank you very much. Geraldo Rivera, the great Geraldo Rivera.
Anytime, Ro, anytime.
All right, my friend. Thanks very much. You can see him over the weekend on Fox News, weekends at 9 p.m. Central. And, of course, if you'd like to stream WABC Radio, Geraldo's on there. And you can tell Geraldo's a talk show host now. He is. Michael.
He's good.
He is. No words in edgewise.
Very excited.
Yes, he is.
Less work for you.
Christina, you got something to say?